Welcome back here on Pride Sports Media. My name is Andrew Hernandez, and today we'll be breaking down some boys basketball previews. It's around this time right now that we'll start previewing right now girls basketball and boys basketball. So throughout the week here on the YouTube page, we'll be uploading some previews as well from different conferences about the boys basketball and girls basketball season. As this might be our busiest season, no matter what, boys basketball and girls basketball, because it's gonna be a good season this season. So hopefully, this season we'll get some good runs. Hopefully, some good state runs out of other teams as well. So we're gonna kick off with the Free Rivers. So the Free Rivers last year overall had one team in Class 2A that got fourth, and one team that went into the Sweet 16. So our first team we're gonna kick off was going to be a team that started off undefeated, had an undefeated streak throughout the season, but we're going to kick off with Princeton. So the Princeton Tigers kicked off undefeated last year with the undefeated streak. So their streak began in Ottawa at the Dean Riley tournament by defeating Streator, LaSalle Peru, Oak Forest, and Pontiac to win the tournament. Then after that, they kicked off with some non-conference games with Alleman and IVC. Then after that, they went into the Spring Valley Hall Calmoni Classic tournament as they beat the likes of Peru, St. Bede, Rock Falls in their pool before heading in and winning against the likes of Marquette and Pontiac to win a title. Then they beat Spring Valley Hall. Right after that, Rochelle, Bureau Valley, Kewanee, Mendota in conference play. Then after that, they defeated Rock Falls, and Rock Falls is shootout by 10. Rock Falls almost pulled the upset that year, and then defeating Sandwich, and then defeated Newman as well. And then before beating two big Northern Conference teams, Winnebago and Dixon as well, and then blowing out Peru St. Bede for the second time, and then defeating Ottawa, Kewanee for the second time, and then Hall twice as well in their conference. So technically, it was an undefeated streak that went from, I believe, November 21st all the way to January 27th last season, before on January 28th, before they lost also down in Princeton to Normal University out of Normal last season. That was also one of the teams that Rock Falls ran into at their first game at the State Farm Classic down in Bloomington. So this season, as we look at the previews for Princeton, is hopefully keep that streak going on, because, Princeton, so head coach Jason Smith, he has done a great job of turning around the Princeton basketball program. Now it's becoming one of the top programs right now. Ever since he's been there, they've reloaded, I bet this year they can make a run this year. I think it's going to be a battle between Princeton and Rock Falls, because I bet Coach Sandrock at Rock Falls, it's always been a big game here in Rock Falls when we played Princeton, because, I was also a former basketball player at Rock Falls, because I played for Coach Sandrock, even though our big game was against Princeton no matter what in 2A, because we played them 3 times, because I remember those Rock Falls Princeton games is right now, because the first 3 times they played them, my junior year, we played for Princeton. The first time was down in Geneseo, and around Thanksgiving time at the shootout there, and we defeated them by 2. And then we lost them the second time that we saw them at the Calmoni. Then the third time we almost beat them at Princeton. And then last season they lost them twice. They only played twice. First time at the Calmoni, and then the second time at the Rock Falls shootout. So then, that was not their only loss, was to U High. They also lost to Pleasant Plains at the Riverton shootout as well. And then in the postseason, And right after that, they went into the postseason, defeating the likes of Spring Valley Hall and Stillman Valley to win the Bureau Valley Regional last season. And then after that, they defeated Riverdale to advance to the sectional title part of the Orion sectional before losing to our next team that we're going to talk about, Rock Ridge, who also, so that game as well, they didn't play in Orion that game. They had to move the game down to Geneseo to allow more seats for fans to come in. So that was Princeton. So I expect more players that we're going to watch out for this season for Princeton. So on my list for Princeton are going to be, I think the two, I know one of them is currently right now in football right now. So as you all know, Princeton had a huge win, I believe, last Friday in football over Sterling as well. So huge run for Princeton, because Princeton, they have been dominating in football and basketball as well. Because you all know, because Princeton, Illinois, you talk about the Princeton Tigers, they have been dominating in both football and basketball. So players to watch out for this year, my two are probably going to be Noah Laporte and Corey Lawson. Because, I know for Princeton, they got to find some replacements, in their lineup. Because, they lost some players last season like Colton Monroe, Grady Thompson, and also current Iowa Hawkeye Tegan Davis as well. Them three were also a huge core of their lineup last season as well for Princeton. All right, moving on, we're going to talk about Rock Ridge Rockets. So Rock Ridge coming in. So last thing, I forgot something. So we're going to talk about, so I believe this upcoming schedule for Princeton, I don't know if they're going to be in a Thanksgiving tournament. So some of the games that are already confirmed is, so January 21st, they'll be playing at the Lancer, playing Dixon. So the first, there are two conference games that have already been confirmed. And I believe that will be Mendota at Mendota and Kewanee at Kewanee. Mendota twice. Then they got to play Rock Falls again. That's going to probably be a big game when they play Rock Falls. All right, moving on to Rock Ridge, another team. So Rockets last season got 4th overall down in state last year. So the Rockets now, they're coming in with with another head coach, because their other coach, Andy Charay, I think his last name is, because their old coach right now moved went to UT now, coaching there down at the Panther Den. So they're going to be an interesting team as well. Out of the Western Big Six is probably going to be UT. So some games that have been confirmed for Rock Ridge. So their conference games, so they'll play Morrison twice. Their games versus Morrison have already been confirmed. So November 28th and November 12th. Not November 28th and January 12th, I mean. They play Morrison, and then their first game at Geneseo, so it's been confirmed that I believe they're going to go down to Geneseo or not. But it says their first game is against Kewanee at Geneseo. Then their two big games will be playing against two Western Big Six teams, and that is Moline and Rock Island for both teams coming in. So Rock Ridge, hopefully stay alive with that tradition coming in. So the Rockets are one of my interesting ones. Next up is Riverdale. We're going to talk about the Riverdale Rams. The next one. So Riverdale is another one of my teams as well. So Riverdale last year went into the regional before losing to Rock Ridge as well. Part of the sectional in Orion. So Riverdale won I believe the West Carroll regional out in Savannah. So Riverdale is another young upsetting team coming into the Three Rivers Conference, because I believe their side is the Three Rivers West. So their side, they got Erie Pottstown, Monmouth Roseville, the likes of them. So EP, or the Erie Pottstown Panthers. Our next up is Erie Prophetstown. So Erie Pottstown is another team that to watch out for, because last year EP played Riverdale in a sectional as well for pulling upsets over Farmington and Mercer County, part of the regional there. So other teams as well, they're probably my huge one as well. And then Sherrard's another team on my list that I want to see hopefully make a run as well in the regional as well, or in the postseason technically. So currently right now, my picks to win the Three Rivers Conference, both sides. I think one of the sides of the Three Rivers West is going to be probably Rock Ridge, and then the Three Rivers East, probably Princeton is my other one. My second one will have to be the Newman Comets if they can pull something in. And then you got Riverdale and Sherrard are my other ones too as well. So our next swap, we're going to be probably doing the Western Big Six in the Big Northern Conference as well for boys basketball. So here's the one things that we're going to see probably the season one. So we'll probably be seeing Princeton, I think, when they play Newman. And probably one, we got probably Rock Ridge. I don't know if we'll see Rock Ridge or Riverdale. And I'm hoping that we get to see Erie Prophetstown and a lot of the Three Rivers Conference. But our next up will be the Western Big Six. So here are some of the players to watch out for. So for Princeton, Noah Laporte, the junior. I know he's getting a lot of D1 looks for football. Court Lotson, another one for Princeton. And we get two out of Kewanee, and that is Blaise Lewis and Brody Clark. If they do play, and Devontae Jordan are the free ones out of Kewanee. From Newman, probably Lucas Simpson, Jake Williams for Riverdale, hopefully Carson Clunning and Landon Bowl, two other ones from Rock Ridge as well. And then for probably Erie Pottstown, probably if they do get Jeremiah Crochavar, if he doesn't get in, if he's not out for basketball season as well. That's another name I didn't put down, but he's also one of the other ones that we're hoping to see. And I believe another one for Morrison, I don't know. And then for Mendota or any team. So our outlook this season for the Three Rivers East right now for the standings. So it's going to be Princeton first, Newman second, and then Kewanee third. The top three for them. And then for their side, the other side, it's going to be probably a four-way battle between Rock Ridge, Sherrard, Newman, and Riverdale. But, you never know. Out of every conference right now. So we'll see what happens throughout the season. So make sure to stay updated here on Pride Sports Media, because throughout this week we'll probably be putting a lot of basketball stuff in from every single conference. Every single team previews are coming up in October and November for both girls basketball and boys basketball as well. So we'll have a conference previews, and then we'll have the team previews as well. So make sure to subscribe, not miss out. Make sure to follow Primetime Sports Media on Instagram and Facebook, because we'll be putting all that stuff as well on there. And make sure to check out the Instagram page so for any updates already coming up. So we'll see you probably in our next video.